a mind-numbingly boring found footage film that features 5 people spending more time in an RV than the first 2 seasons of The Walking Dead. We watched The Houses That October Built. We watched it so you don't have to. So you know what that means.
Horror, so bad and scary. Splitting up is never okay. Plot, who needs it? Don't turn on the lights. Cars don't ever start, but that's alright. Running upstairs instead of out the door. Good acting, what do we need that for? Horrible horror, so bad and scary. Enjoy the show, but not really.
All right, hey everybody, welcome to the next episode of Horrible Horror, the podcast where we watch the worst of the worst in horror movies. Movies so bad they're scary. I'm your host, Marshall Hampton. With me today is not Aaron Southworth. He is off on his honeymoon. He is a newly married man. He's off in Vegas with Melissa, living it up, staying at the Bellagio, probably running through fountains, being all girly and giggly and enjoying the bliss of marriage. With me today is friend of the show, 2-time guest now, Mr. Chris Samples.
Hello, hello.
For those of you who follow, he did Jason X with us. So he is kindly sat in for Aaron in his absence.
I will try to fill his shoes.
Yes. So this marks our first episode of the Halloween season. This is October, my favorite time of the year, probably many people's favorite time of the year. All month long, we will be doing Halloween-themed movies, and we just have a theme going all along. So just like we did in October, look for more theme-based movies. This one, the Houses That October Built. Wow.
Yeah.
This movie sucked so bad. I had high hopes for it, dude. I did. I love the premise of it. I thought I was like, oh, this could be really good. And then it turns out to be a goddamn found footage bullshit movie. And those all suck. You know what? Fuck you, Blair Witch.
Right.
You started this trend of shit, and I blame you.
Exactly.
So, anyway, so The House is October Built. It's fairly new. It was released October 10th of 2014. It's a low-budget indie movie. Runtime of 91 minutes. I found it on Netflix. I believe it's on Amazon, too. I'm not sure where else. Chris, you watched it on Netflix?
I watched it on Netflix, and I noticed on Amazon they have a version from 2011.
Yeah, there's 2 different versions of it, which is really weird.
Yeah.
I think the 2011 version was like
Worse somehow?
Yeah, I think what happened. Here's what I think happened with this movie.
Okay.
I think originally it started off as like a documentary about just haunted houses.
Right.
And then I think somewhere along the line, somebody got an idea of like, hey, let's do this with it instead.
Right.
So and then it morphed into this bullshit that we watched.
Oh, God.
So yeah, there's 2. I didn't see the 2011 version, but there's 2 different versions of this movie.
Yeah. I don't know why you would wipe your ass twice.
Yeah,
Exactly. You know?
Yeah, go back to that poisoned well twice.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So, it was written by Zach Andrews, Bobby Rowe, and Jason Zada, directed by Bobby Rowe as well. The cast is basically 5 people. And for the most part, because it's supposed to be found footage bullshit, they're basically playing themselves.
Right.
Like, you got Brandy, Zach, Bobby, Mikey, and Jeff are the main cast. And they're all, the actors' names are Brandy Schaefer, Zach Andrews, Bobby Rowe, Mikey Rowe, and Jeff Larson.
Which Brandy, very hot.
There
One of the standouts of this.
Then
Crap.
since we might not get to it later because it's trying to take notes and follow this thing is a pain in the ass, but
It was.
Jeff is pretty much the most useless character in this entire movie.
Agreed.
He has like no lines. He's like
No.
he might as well just be the chauffeur. I
Yeah.
think he's just there to drive the RV.
That's what it seemed like. He's only with like a CDL or something.
Yeah.
To drive. I drive this giant.
It was his RV. He's like,
RV.
dude, I'm not. You can't take my
Right.
RV unless you take me with you. Like,
Right.
fine, come
Right.
on,
Fine.
Jeff. Yeah, he's the most useless character. So yeah, that's it. I mean, so let's jump right in. Let's try to get into this.
Try to wade through.
And
this.
I'll apologize now because this might be hard to follow. unless you watch it. And I don't recommend you watching it, but I'll get into that later. So the movie itself, the movie proper, opens with an old like 70s TV ad for like a haunted house, like like one of those like fairground ones, or, like county fair haunted houses.
Right.
And then it goes into interviews with various haunted house owners, operators, and like employees. So this is like where it's like the documentary part.
Right. And they're trying to set the scene of like what really goes on behind the scenes of these haunted houses, and like trying to find something that's, in my opinion, not really there. But
I guess we should say the premise of the movie is that these 5 friends are going on like a road trip to find the best haunted houses in America.
the most extreme haunt.
Yeah. So, and in between each of these short little clips of videos and interviews, there's like little text slides, like little PowerPoint presentations, if you will, with I'm using air quote unquote facts about the haunted house industry. Whether they're true or not, who knows?
Really?
I don't really care at this point.
No.
And then after that, it goes into news clips, like again, quote air quotes here, news reports of various local nightly news programs reporting on accidents and other incidents that have happened in or at haunted houses. They talk about a girl who accidentally hung herself, trying to, be part of the, be even scarier, but she accidentally hangs herself and she
Like
dies.
she's trying to take it one step farther to
scare
people, and then
there's like a sex offender was arrested while working in a haunted house, so I guess for grabbing people.
which is that really a surprise? I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, that one I'd buy that one. But the last slide goes into says that the following is found footage shot by 5 friends on an extreme haunt road trip in October 2013. So, and then it says, and the rest of the film was allegedly filmed by employees of the Blue Skeleton, an underground haunt with no fixed location.
Right.
Now here's where I think this is proving my point on why they switched gears, because that shot you just said there's a 2011 version of this film,
right? And
the slide just says road trip in 2013, so that's 2 years after the original. So somewhere
That's
they
a good
changed
point.
gears. They totally changed movies.
I didn't pick that up.
Yeah. So once you get through all that intro, the movie starts with guys in masks putting an unconscious girl in a bloody hoodie into the trunk of a car, closing the trunk, and there's like a GoPro, like a cam's like stuck to the top of the trunk, filming her this whole time.
And at this point, I was interested because she's all bloodied up. I'm thinking, all right, we're gonna actually get something out of this.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, okay, let's see where this goes. And then the screen goes black and says 6 days earlier. Okay, so now we're back to this bullshit.
Right.
We meet the 5 core people. They're drinking at a bar, talk about haunted houses, and it's basically just filler. This is just all filler with a bunch of quick shots of various haunts and there's another interview, and it's so jumpy.
Yeah, they're gearing up to go on a road trip.
Yeah, there's somebody like they're talking about, they're sitting at the bar drinking,
Right.
and they're trying to get some kind of establishment. These guys they're real people. They're cool.
Yeah.
And then I kind of broke my notes down like this because I quote unquote chapters, because on the screen it keeps saying days till Halloween. 5. There's like a countdown throughout the whole movie.
Counting down to Halloween.
So this is 5 days till Halloween. They all gather on the RV and they head off on their little road trip. And again, you get just banter and basic found footage bullshit. This is them hanging on the RV, talking, drinking. As you can imagine, nothing happening. Nothing at all. The first haunted house, their first stop on their road trip, is called the Haunt House, and it's in Texas. Keep in mind, this is supposed to be like, I guess Texas is big enough to establish a road trip, but if you're supposed to be going to like, we want the most extreme haunts in the country, they never leave Texas until the very end, and even then they don't go very far from Texas.
I thought that was weird too, because they wanted to. We're gonna travel the country, okay, in 5 days to Halloween to see as many haunts as you can across the whole country.
Yeah,
well, they never get out of Texas.
Yeah, they never get out of Texas. So it's just shots of them waiting in line, wasting time before they even go inside the house. They do film the walkthrough, like their walkthrough of the haunted house, and some of these shots weren't that bad. Like,
no, it wasn't terrible.
Like, I like haunted houses. I do. I love Halloween. And I'm like, okay, these are kind of cool haunted. If this was a real haunted house, this would be kind of cool. And who knows? Like I said, this was a documentary at first, which it probably was. Those might have been pretty cool haunted houses to go to.
Totally.
But so inside this haunted house is where we meet this character called Porcelain for the first time. She's this little girl, probably somewhere between 10, 13. I have really bad judgment of
We don't
kids'
really ever
age.
see her face. I mean,
No, she wears this mask that makes her look like a porcelain doll, but like with really like thin, stringy hair hanging down
until her face was like cracked or something.
Yeah, it's like a cracked
she was
porcelain
glued
doll.
back together almost.
Yes, it's actually a pretty cool mask effect. I mean, at first it's not really makeup; it's a full mask,
Right.
but it's done really well, and she looks creepy.
Yeah.
She's probably the best character in this movie, and
Right.
But so you see her for the first time.
That's not saying much.
Yeah. So yeah, we introduced to her, and she disappears for a while. Now, again, since this is found footage, it's all shot in like first person POV camera style, and it makes it so hard to follow the action and what's going on because this camera is so shaky. This
Right.
entire movie, it's like constant ceasing. You better get your Dramamine out for this one.
Right.
And somehow they piss off a bunch of the workers with their antics, and they get chased out of the lot or whatever, and like, get out of here, stop filming or whatever. You don't really see what happens. It's
Right,
just
it's like immediately the workers are taking it personally that they're even filming inside
like-
and kind of like what's going on.
yeah, they act like this place like NASA or Homeland
Right.
Security, like no filming in here,
Right,
like
right.
what,
Come on.
whatever. So
Get over yourself, kind of thing.
So they're getting on the V, and they're trying to leave, and
Here come the clowns.
yeah, and then exactly, they look outside the window, and there's like this creepy clown standing in the tall grass, somewhat kind of blocking the RV's
Right.
path. They can't really turn.
Right.
And then they look around the camera. Whoever's holding it turns around to talk to people, and they come back. The clown's gone, and that's it. And it goes into more interview scenes with so boring.
I know.
Now we're at day 4, or 4 days to Halloween. Next day,
Right.
back on the road, more driving, more talking, nothing happening.
Nothing.
Nothing
There is
at
a
all.
funny part though where the Zach character ends up getting a secondhand high from Mikey. I guess Mikey got high in the bathroom, and they're like exchanging snacks and
Oh.
laughing a lot. If it tells
Okay,
you
I remember.
anything like that,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
that was
there's
like one of the
something
most
about snacks.
entertaining parts for me. It was somewhat funny, and it kind of cut up the monotony.
Yeah,
of
it's so
the
monotonous.
RV.
Um,
scenes.
So yeah, and then this is where this scene where I put down, like, they're trying to build up the characters and trying to make us, the audience, see just how real they
Right.
are and how good of friends they are. But to me, it just falls completely flat. Like, I don't care about these people. I don't know. To me, that's always the problem with found footage films. Like, I just never care about the characters. They
Right.
just, I don't know. I hate them. There's a shot of them driving down the highway, and they get cut off by this white van. And I marked it down because I thought that was going to be prevalent later. Like, okay, something's going to come back, but it really never. There's no payoff for that.
no.
Like, really, you can use your imagination and try to make a link to who's in that van. But once you see the movie and you know what happens, like, okay, maybe that's it. But there's no definitive. Yes, that's right. It's just
Right.
imagination here. Then so they stop for some reason, and they just build a fire like out in the woods, and they build a fire, and they're drinking fireside. And one of the guys, I don't know who it is, if it's Jeff, if it's Zach, if it's what are their name?
Bobby.
It's not Bobby, and it's either Zach or it's Jeff. Those are two that I always. But he starts going off. He's like, "Hey, check out this rap I wrote."
That was
and
Jeff.
It was Jeff.
Yeah.
All right, and it's just awful. I mean, it's super white man rapping.
Oh, God.
It's really, really bad. And there's no point to the scene except for let's try to give these characters some kind of personality.
Right.
And then out of nowhere, just black guy in like face paint
Walks out of the woods.
Yeah, it just
right?
comes out of nowhere. He's like,
And apparently, like, it was because when they pulled up, there had been a fire earlier, and it was just ashes now, and they almost made it like, well, somebody was here, like trying to make it scary. But anything they tried to do that, it never paid off. You know
No.
what I mean? It never was like, oh my God, Even when this guy showed up and kind of snuck up on him, thinking, okay, and then nothing.
yeah. He comes out of the woods,
All this
and
Bobby character kept talking about was like backwoods. I want to see backwoods. No rules, no regulations.
yeah, Bobby's all about the extreme haunt and
Right.
getting
Way
around.
too serious.
Is that
Takes
Bobby or is
himself
that
way too-
Zach? Because both of them seem like to be wanting that.
Well, Zach was the one that was like the navigator through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like he was like finding the haunts and going there. And then the Bobby character was the guy obviously who directed the movie.
Yeah.
But then also was like setting up the cameras in the beginning and trying.
Bobby was like going to orchestra, like
everything. Like he was way too serious about the whole situation.
Yeah, it was like this was like his idea from the get. Like if somebody's playing a flow trip, that's Bobby's one on planning this whole thing out.
Right, but he's also the one where if you're like 10 minutes late, he's gonna go off on you and be like, "You gotta stay on schedule."
Yeah,
you know?
that's I agree with that. So yeah, the black guy comes out and he says, "Oh yeah, I work at this haunt down the road," and like, "Oh, well, we're gonna go check that one out eventually." And he's kind of weird and creepy. At least they try to make him out there because he doesn't say much. Just kind of stares like wide-eyed at people, but nothing comes of it. The camera cuts out. It's done, and now they're at haunt number 2, which is called Rise, and it's in Eureka, Texas. And all it is, it's basically a zombie paintball hayride. And I won't lie, the scene, like, it looked kind of fun. Like, I'd do that.
My thought though immediately was, how much would you hate that job of being one of the zombies? And all night, every night, you just got to get blasted in the face with paintballs. I mean,
yeah, I do wonder like what kind of protection they wear. Like,
how much, you can't be making that much money. And like, how bad would it be? That's how bad this movie was. Is that I was thinking about the workers and like they gotta have some sort of like a lawsuit by the end of this.
That's a great point. Like, it's the movie's that bad that you're actually thinking about the zombie haunted house extras instead of the main characters in the plot of this movie.
They gotta just take paintballs to the face all night. Like, oh god, I hate my job.
Yeah, it's hilarious. So there's a shot of them standing around talking after the hayride's over, and they kind of like in the background. There's like another creepy clown kind of standing behind a corner of a building, looking at them. Watching them again, so it's trying to relate to like the creepy clown that was watching in the grass earlier. So now it's like, okay, are they being followed or whatnot?
Right.
And that's it. But again, camera cuts out, and they're back on the RV, and they're about ready to leave, and they see Porcelain, the little girl, who's standing like it's like the rear view camera, like
something like that,
and they're like the TV screen, the rear view camera. She's behind the RV and be like, holy shit, what's she doing here? Like,
they made a comment like, can't be the same girl. That home was 100 miles away or something.
Exactly, I actually had that. Yeah. So Mikey gets off to go talk to her, and he comes back on the RV, and he's followed by Porcelain, so she is now on the RV. She's followed him on the RV, and they're trying to ask her questions like, hey, can we help you? What are you doing here? And that's what you said. That's when they put
again, I'm thinking, all right, something cool is gonna happen.
They're like, how'd you get here? Because it's like Chris said, it was 100 miles or over 100 miles from the first haunted house where they first encountered her. And so Porcelain basically just kind of sits down, looks around, opens her mouth to say something. Nothing comes out. She closes her mouth again, looks around some more. And then she does like start making this really strange, like awful noise. It's kind of like I don't even want to try to do it. It's weird.
Scream, but it's more of like a
something like that.
Pretty
I don't know if that's
close.
it or not, but it's
close.
a really weird noise. And then the camera just cuts out.
No, she like stands up, walks off the RV, and that's it. They drive away.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Well, I was saying before, the camera cuts out a little bit, like, oh, something happens, but it cuts back in. She's still there, walks off the RV, and they drive off like nothing happened.
They're just like looking at each other.
Like, that was weird. All right, fuck it, let's go on.
Right.
More interviews with haunt owners and goers and customers to fill time, I guess.
Again, trying to build up to that there are things that go on in these haunts that nobody talks about.
Yeah, like the seedy underbelly of haunted houses. Like, we don't talk about that.
Anything. They never show anything. It's just...
It's like Fight Club. First rule of haunted house, you don't talk about haunted house. We're on Days of Halloween 3. We're on day 3 now. And more boring filler, driving, talking, boring. But they start talking about an underground kind of secretive haunt that you have to have a password for, and that it seems apparently it keeps moving from city to city each year.
Right, no fixed location.
Yeah, it's never a fixed location, and this is where you first hear, except for the title screen where you hear about the titles, but that's where the characters first talk about Blue Skull or Blue Skeleton or something along those lines.
Right.
That's Zach talking about all this.
And Zach's got a hard on for this.
Yeah.
Big time.
So they end up at the next haunted house, which is called Terrorplex, Mansfield, Texas. And I am curious, like if this ever reaches anybody in Texas, or anybody in Texas ever listening to these this episode, like if these haunted houses actually exist, drop us a line, let us know because I'm very curious.
Me too.
So one of the guys goes to piss in the woods. Again, I don't know if it's Zach, if it's Bobby, if it's Jeff. It doesn't fucking matter.
It was Zach.
Okay. Because you can never tell because it's all first person. You don't know who you're following or who's. And he's peeing and he's spotted by, and he gets chased by a guy in this giant bloody rabbit suit. And it's not like the rabbit from Donnie Darko, the famous Donnie Darko rabbit, which is creepy and cool looking. It's like a white rabbit. The face is a little off, a little kind of creepy, but it's white and it's got
like
blood
a scar across his chest, something like that.
I just saw blood,
weird.
but and he starts chasing through it, and he's like,
Very
"Oh,
nice.
get away from me!" And the rabbit, then he's like, starts like making a little rabbit noise and being all cute, and walks off. And so nothing happened. Another film through of a haunted house, and this one's kind of cool haunted house again. Another interview with the haunt owner. Again, nothing happens. So now we're down to Halloween, 2 days out.
Right.
More driving, more talking. I just throw in big caps. So boring.
I know.
3
I fell
explanations.
asleep.
Yeah.
I fell asleep during the first
Oh my
watch.
god, I was so tired watching this. Just because like I'm going off a little sidetrack here, but for me, like the last few days have been so long because
bet.
Thursday was rehearsal dinner, Friday was wedding and reception and up to late, and then Saturday I'm getting ready for. Then Saturday we did the Belleville Chili Cook-Off, which was a long day, and I'm trying to get ready for this. So by the time I get to the evening when I'm actually trying to sit down and watch this, I'm just like, I can barely keep my eyes open. And this movie is like, this is better than like Lunesta or Amy. Just put this movie on and you will be out like a light.
Right.
So back to the movie. They do stop at a strip club on the way. And you do get to see some boobs.
Probably the most entertaining.
This is probably the most entertaining part of the movie. There's girls dancing
giant
around.
Fake cans too.
Yeah.
Giant fake cans.
Who cares? At this point, I'm like, hey, this is the best part of the movie. Just make the whole movie this, and you got something.
The Brandy character, like being the typical female.
Yeah,
like,
she's like looking at the camera, like,
this is so stupid.
Yeah, this is dumb. Like, this is dumb.
Stupid. God, shut up, bitch. Go back to the RV and take a nap. Then.
Exactly. Like, quote unquote. Anyway, I won't say that. So now they're in the next haunt, which is called Phobia. It's somewhere along a highway in Texas. And basically at this point, Mikey is drinking a beer in the RV with one of the girls that works at the haunt. He's like hitting on her and trying to flirt with her a bit.
Yeah, that was weird.
And she's done up in like her makeup, so half her face is all like fucking weird looking. And he's just kind of like, so what's going on?
Yeah,
like,
right?
hey, can I touch it? Oh, you're a control twist? What can you do? How can you convert your body? It's like, and then Zach is out talking to some people, like some customers, and he's talking about, and he's hearing about this haunt down in New Orleans, and the guys say it's run by Blue Skeleton, and Zach like just gets instant boner for that. Like, oh, tell me more, gotta know.
All ripped out.
Yeah, he's just ripping the pants. And now it skips ahead a bit, and you get a night vision shot. This night vision of someone videotaping the group from a distance.
Did you notice the blue tint though?
I did.
On the guy that's recording them, like, because I mean, we set up a little bit here. Someone comes into the RV, and
well, at first they're like outside because it's showing like Bobby or Zach or somebody like picking up stuff outside the RV because he's like in the bushes.
You're right.
And then they go onto the RV when
but
they're
whoever's
sleeping.
recording, like the recording of like the Mikey or whatever, it's got like a blue tint, like a black and white.
Tint. I thought you said tent.
Tint. No,
I thought it was like
not tent.
yeah. It's
Sorry,
not like
tint.
it's not like the green night
folks.
vision you're used to, or
Right,
it's not like the black
right.
and white. It is kind of a bluish
tint.
Yeah. Okay. Now that I noticed.
Okay. Sorry.
So then the videotape, the guy with the camera goes onto the RV while they're sleeping. Films them while they're sleeping, and he reaches out. He takes out one guy's license from his pants, and then he gets the Brandy in bed, and he gets super close to her, and he reaches out his hand and kind of brushes her face. And then you see him like pan over to the mirror, and you see the person holding the camera, but you don't really see a face because like the light, the glare in the video in the mirror is kind of blocking it. But you see like a big guy holding a camera.
Right.
Black, a camera cuts out. That's it. Done. Over with. Next day, days to Halloween 1. So the countdown's almost done. Zach, they're on the RV, and he's like, and Zach somehow miraculously finds this video.
Well, he's been trolling these websites trying to find this blue
like
skeleton
forums.
because he's got a hard on for this blue skeleton.
Yeah, that's right. He's like trolling like these haunted house forums or blog sites, like people trying to find who were talking about the best haunts and all that.
Right.
So yeah, he finds this video posted on a forum, and he shows Bobby, and it's basically it's the video that we just saw that got shot of them sleeping and people on the RV, and so now they're starting to get a little like what's going on, something's not quite right here, but still not to any extreme level of real concern.
Yeah,
there's like they don't even just like, oh well, maybe we should stop and turn around and move on.
There's a video of you online. Somebody was obviously in your trailer last night.
Yeah,
which is another point that bothered me. If you're in the middle of nowhere, right, backwoods as they keep saying, and you're in this RV, do you not lock the door?
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? Like, you're just gonna leave the door unlocked.
The door would have been unlocked for them to get on.
How else is he getting in? You know, I mean.
Yeah, unless they're coming through like the hatch in the top, like all Mission Impossible Tom Cruise style, and like the ropes.
Yeah, they're so stupid, you know.
Yeah, that's a good point. I totally didn't even think about that. I think I was just so mind dead at the time, brain dead. I couldn't even think about it.
Well, I had to watch it twice. Just, I mean,
I watched it twice. I did watch this like months ago, but I had to watch it again for this. So yeah. At this point, Mikey opens the fridge to find this giant slab of bloody meat.
It was a heart.
To me, it looked like maybe a cow's lung. Well, there's no way that was a heart. I don't. It
looked like a heart to me. I mean, it could have been a cow heart. It could have been. It definitely wasn't human. It would have been a lot cooler if it looked.
It was more like a human heart, but yeah, it was a giant something.
Like and he's all throwing up in the sink, like, and it didn't really look all that disgusting either. You know?
I mean, it wasn't even like covered in flies.
Had the whole fridge been covered in blood, or they'd done something cool? It was like neatly placed in the fridge.
It was like one of those really thick, like a Dixie paper plates, like one of the really thick ones that don't drip and leak.
Right.
And yeah, like there was like a little pool of like the juices or blood that
in the plate,
but everything else was spotless around the fridge.
Right.
And there was no like flies orbiting around the thing.
I know.
And so whether it was a heart, a lung, it was something. They get rid of it.
Mikey's really acting it out though.
Oh yeah, he's over the top.
So disgusting that he was like throwing up in the sink and like, oh god, Mikey, what's going on?
Yeah, he kind of overdid that one.
Oh man, it was bad.
But again, of course, nothing comes up. They don't decide to change course or give it up. Like, nope, keep on going.
Yeah.
More driving, more nothing. During this driving bit, Zach gets an email from some guy saying, "Ask for Giggles at the D&D bar in Baton Rouge." And I was a D&D bar. Oh, is this gonna be like Dungeon Dragon Thieves bar? Because that would have been awesome.
Right.
But no, it's just some shitty hole in the wall.
Well, actually, you get there and it is a hole in the wall, but it was almost like it was a hangout for haunt workers.
Well, yeah, because I didn't know if that was the case or because
once they got inside, then
everybody's dressed up in like.
Right.
In costumes and makeup. But I didn't you're right, it could be a hangout for haunt workers.
Well, that was my question. Like I was like, is that what this
I just thought maybe it was just like because it's like
a hangout for weirdos?
Day before Halloween. Yeah, maybe they're just there in Halloween. You know, it's Halloween costumes.
I didn't think about that.
So it's one of the two. So they stop by and they're like, so this is supposed to be like the first step of finding Blue Skeleton.
Right.
You ask for this guy and, do the
You only ask for Giggles.
Yeah.
Right.
So you go to the bar, they ask for these two guys at the bar. They say, "Are you Giggles?" Yeah, we know Giggles. And you just have a seat over there. We'll get him or something like that. And so they sit there and watch this couple dance, dressed up. And some more time passes. And then like you get this another weird clown who's like all in white clown makeup. And he starts doing this. He's like doing weird, really strange dancing motions. Just
the clowns are very prominent. Like
it's really clown heavy.
Like I watched this with my wife, and she has this crazy fear of clowns for some reason, and she hated that part. But as time went on, I mean, she was passed out too. So
yeah, that's a good point though. This this movie, a lot of clowns. Most like these people that are supposed to like following this group around, they're all clowns, except for Porcelain. It's like they're all clowns. Which is weird because the last movie we did, I think, or 2 movies ago or something, we just did Killer Clowns from Outer Space. So I've had my fill of clowns for a while.
Killer clowns, though.
So they're told to go outside to talk to Giggles, but without the camera. Like you can't videotape Giggles. Right. He's like Muhammad or something like that. You can't see his picture.
They had a hard on for this camera, like the locals or whatever. Like, hey, what's that camera about?
Yeah,
you know? Like,
is that gonna take my soul?
Yeah, right. Like they did not like the camera one bit.
No. So at this point, all the guys go outside. They leave the camera on the table. Brandy had got up to go to the bathroom. Two random dudes in the bar pick up the camera, go into the bathroom after Brandy, and start like harassing her.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing comes from it.
No.
You know, it's not like you keep that like, okay, are they gonna like rape this girl? Are they gonna do something? No, she's basically like, hey, get out of here. You're not supposed to be in here. And they're like, hey, pretty lady. And she basically just walks past them, and nothing. Again, the camera just kind of cuts out, and they're back on the RV with more boring ass talking.
Well, let's talk about that for a second too. All right, you got 4 dudes and 1 chick. You know, like they're supposed to be like these longtime friends or whatever. How is all these guys gonna walk out of this creepy looking bar and leave the girl inside? I mean,
yeah, they don't really like fuck you, Brandy.
Right. Like, just another point that like. What it's just
nobody's really looking
horrible,
out for her. They look out for a little bit at some point later, but not really much there. It's so like I said, the characters are meaningless and just
pretty much
they're awful. I'm not saying they're awful people because I've seen way worse people in some of these other movies we've done on the show, but they're just so goddamn boring. There's like nothing to them.
I know.
So back on the RV, more talking, more bullshit, more waste of time. At this point, the RV starts getting banged on from the outside, and the power goes out. So, I'm not an RV aficionado. I don't know like why the power would go out on the RV unless the battery was dead. Like if it was hooked up to a generator, I guess like externally, and they pulled the plug, I get it, but I don't understand why the power just goes out all of a sudden. But then they go to start the engine, and it starts right up.
Right.
So like. How does that happen? I don't know RVs enough, but how do you cut the power, but the battery's still, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, they turn it on the engine, the headlights come on, and boom. The whole RV, like, there's like a good dozen or so people dressed up in costumes and makeup just surrounding the RV. And again, mostly clowns.
Mostly clowns, yeah.
And there's clowns you've seen before, especially like I haven't mentioned them yet, but there's a shot early in the movie, and you definitely recognize this giant clown. Like he's like 6'6" maybe, and he's just fat too, and he's like the scary clown mask, like the fangs and all that.
Right.
You see him like front and center, and then they're surrounded by clowns. But then like out of nowhere, again, they just kind of disappear. Like like now it's like how do you like 24 people just like disappear? You know, and we established like this is not a supernatural movie. It's not ghosts, or not demons. They're just people in costume, but they vanish like they're goddamn ghosts. And then another fucking interview scene. Finally, days to Halloween 0. We have reached Halloween day. Finally, something might start happening because at this point we're like an hour and at least an hour into this movie with nothing happening. The gang, they're cooking breakfast, and then something smashes into the side of the RV, and they're like, don't go out there. And Zach's like, fuck it, I'll go out there. He goes out to investigate, and he finds a pumpkin with a tag on it that says, carve me.
Right.
So he grabs a knife, cuts open the pumpkin, and pulls out like his invitation in a black envelope. And then they also find 5 blue skull masks like pinned to the windshield of the RV by the wiper blades themselves. And then at this point there's some minor arguing going on about the recent events and like, dude, we should stop doing this is getting out of hand, but it's so like glossed over.
Right.
There's like, he's like, hey Chris, maybe we should stop this. You know, I don't know, it's just an idea. Maybe we should not do that. What do you think?
Man, well, no, let's just keep going.
Oh, okay. You want to keep going? All right, let's keep going.
Let's just keep going.
That's basically the entire scene.
And it's like Zach that keeps pushing forward, and like he's got just this raging boner for Blue Skeleton for some reason.
So they finally reach New Orleans. They get to New Orleans,
and at this point, I'm like, finally, something is going to happen.
Yeah, you would think so,
right?
They're walking around Bourbon Street on Halloween, which that actually kind of be cool. Like, check out Bourbon Street on Halloween. Everybody's in costume. Right. It might be like Mardi Gras #2 or something like that.
Might be.
And they're all the main group. They're carrying or wearing those blue skull masks that they found on the windshield. And after several motion sickness inducing minutes of shitty camera work, they finally spot a guy in a blue hoodie wearing the same blue mask.
Right.
And I should say I think it's Jeff, the most useless person in the entire movie, finds him and follows him down this alleyway.
And he gets separated from the rest of the group.
Yes.
And finds this guy.
At first, you don't realize he gets separated because, again, it's first person. So for my first time, I'm like, okay, he's found it, but I'm just thinking in my mind, okay, the rest of the group is like right behind the camera.
Him.
They're all following.
I feel like he's looking around. He can't find him. He's calling out their names. They're not answering. I just felt like he was on his own.
Yeah, eventually I figure that out, but at first I'm like, whatever.
Right. At this point, I'm still like.
So the guy in the blue hoodie, he ducks into like a side door or down a second alley or something. Yeah. I'm not really sure, but he kind of he disappears. And then at the very end of this alley, Porcelain again emerges from the darkness holding an old raggedy teddy bear, and she says, "Do you want to come out and play?" And Chris is dropping beer bottles off my table or cans anyway. So it's kind of creepy, it's creepy. Like I said, she's really the only kind of creepy factor we've had in this entire movie, and it's just like her look. And
there was a couple clowns that made double appearances, but she's really the one.
I'm not saying like she's not the most like she's the only one that we've seen before.
Right.
I'm just saying she's the only one that I found somewhat creepy.
Agreed.
Like, it's different.
Agreed.
To me, the creepy clown is still played out. I don't have no issue with clowns.
Right.
So Jeff, he spins around and he sees like the guy in the bloody bunny costume, who I think he's holding like a gardening hoe, and then another guy in like a black clown costume. And he spins the camera around again, and Porcelain has now been joined by another creepy clown. So it's a lot of this spinning camera, like back and forth, and it's like the camera. It's like, oh my god, I'm getting dizzy.
And I'm assuming she stabs him at this point.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. She walks up to him, and it looks like she stabs him.
There's like
but
a
you
sound
can't tell.
effect.
Yeah,
that sounds like she stabs him.
The camera drops, and they all swarm over Jeff and the camera, and it's a
lot of in
you
and
can't
out.
see what's going on, but you hear like Jeff like moaning or like going,
I think they cut out his tongue.
Yeah, you had no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
They're just noises.
Yeah, the camera work was horrible.
Yeah, there's no blood. You don't see anything. So the camera cuts out and then cuts back in on Zach. Or I'm sorry, no, this is Jeff still. Because the whole time I thought it was Jeff until I went back and like, oh wait, I thought it was Zach, and then I had to go back and like, nope, that's Jeff. Jeff is being dragged down the alleyway. You see him grab his ankle, and he's being dragged off. Mm-hmm. It cuts back to the group, a different camera now, like one of the GoPros that somebody else has, and they're all back on Bourbon Street, and they get a message, a text message.
They're trying to call Jeff. They're trying to call Jeff and figure out where he is.
Thank you for that. Yes.
And whoever took him had changed his voicemail. So whenever his voicemail picked up, it said, "Meet us at this location if you want to see your friend alive again."
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry.
Because that's fine. I was trying to figure out how to explain because I know it gets
trying to mow your lawn or anything. Just
no, totally good. Because I get confused at some of this shit. It's so hard to follow. So they get back to the RV and they drive down this old dirt road, and they kind of come to a stop, and then they see this old school bus driving towards the same dirt road, driving towards them. It stops about 20 feet in front of the RV. One of the creepy clowns gets off of the bus and just kind of stands there looking at him. At this point, Zach gets another text from Jeff's phone saying, "Come out in 60 seconds or your friend will die."
Right.
There's some discussion on what to do. Like, well, what do we do? This is all fake, right? No, maybe you should go out there and not just stay on the bus, or the RV, blah, blah, blah. Mikey blurts out that he's not scared. And, no, this is bullshit. I'm not scared. We should all go outside thinking this is the haunt. This is, the joke. This is the prank. This is what it is. And then they get another text that says, "You should be scared or you will be scared." One of those two. I don't remember what.
Like they can hear them.
Yeah, Mike's like, "Holy shit, can they hear us?" And now they're really starting to get freaked out.
Right.
Zach gets up. He just goes out to the RV, walks up to the clown. The camera cuts back to Mikey in the RV. The windows shatter, but we don't see what causes it. Brandy's flipping out. Another text comes in and says, "Don't look up." And of course, as soon as whoever reads the text, I think it was Mikey, as soon as he says, "Don't look up," on cue, a few men in skull masks come rushing into the RV, like the back of the RV. So it's like, were they were in the back, like the bed the whole time?
I assumed that a window shattered in the back, like they threw something and like they just jumped in a window somehow.
I guess.
I don't know. It was
but that'd be a hell of a feat to do. So anyway, they rush and they grab everyone. Mm-hmm. The camera's knocked over and you hear sound of the struggle. And then the footage switches back to the night vision we saw before, and we see the gang with black bags over their heads, like they're being hauled to Guantanamo or something like that. And they're loaded up onto the bus. The camera shows them sitting on the bus, heads covered, while men in skull masks kind of watch them walk up and down the aisles.
Well, and at this point, this is when the blue skeleton had taken over the filming.
Yeah.
And the blue tent comes back, which is why I was trying to make the point earlier. Like, obviously, the blue skeleton, whatever, had been stalking them or whatever for a while. You know?
Yeah, you definitely, that's totally right. Like, exactly true. But either Mike or Zachy or Mikey, one of the two, keep saying, stay calm, you know what this is. They're thinking this is the haunt. You know,
Pretty
this
sure it
isn't
was
real.
Zach, because Zach had the, again, the hard on for this blue skeleton thing.
So, yeah, one of them. And then, so the driver, at this point, he's driving this school bus at night, and he's wearing this skull mask. And I'm like, driving at night in a skull mask that restricts your vision, like, that just can't be safe.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I mean, even if you're going to kill these, like, you have your own safety. You don't drive at night down an old dirt road in a skull mask where you can't see out of.
Right.
That's just bad decision making right there. So the bus comes to a stop.
Right.
One of the skull guys grabs Mikey and escorts him off the bus. They drop him off. Bus drives away.
Right.
And then the bus, they're back on the bus. It stops again, and the rest of the group is escorted off the bus. Everybody except Brandy.
Right. The other
She's
two
left
guys,
on by Eric.
Right. At this point, they had such a good opportunity to make this awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, we're finally starting to get something happen. And like you said, this is probably like a minute, or an hour 10, hour 15 into the movie.
We're in the last 20 minutes
of
the movie.
The last 20 minutes, things are finally starting to happen.
Right.
Just like every goddamn found footage movie ever. Fuck you, Blair Witch. Fuck you.
Right.
What was the one, the monster, Cloverleaf or something like that? Or Clover something? I don't know.
I know what you're talking about.
Like every goddamn
well, that one was better than Blair Witch or whatever.
No, right, the
Paranormal Activity, all those bullshit movies. I mean,
yeah. Well, speaking of which, the people who did Paranormal Activity, the producers that did this movie.
Seriously?
So it's the same people, like same producers.
Is this really?
Yeah.
Because wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, so Brandy's left on the bus by herself. The bus drives off for a short distance. It comes to a stop. This time, the men in the masks, the captors get off the bus. With one of them walking up to Brandon, like whispering creepily in her ear, and he's like, "Count to 30, then take the bag off, and there'll be a video camera on the seat next to you. Pick it up and record everything you see." He cuts off her zip ties around her wrist, and he's like, "Remember, we'll be watching." Yeah. And he
basically put in a cheesy Southern accent.
Yeah. So the camera switches now to Brandy's new POV camera, and she gets off the bus and enters like some old house. Like it's just right there. You never really see what the building is. There's a door there. She opens. She goes in.
There's no direction for her to go. She just assumes.
Yeah.
Huh. Let's go ahead and walk into this house.
Yeah. Let's go right here.
Are you serious? I'm going to turn. I'm going to run the other way.
Hell, they left the just take the bus and drive off. Right. Go get help.
The keys were in the ignition. Go away.
Just steal the bus.
Dum 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 dum.
So. So she goes into this old house, and now we cut to the other guys who each have their own camera again. They're all separated, but they have their own cameras. One guy has like a flashlight. The other guy has like a blue glow stick, and that's all he has.
I actually thought that part would be a little bit terrifying because you hear the chainsaws going off. You don't know where it's at. You're in a dark room, and all you have is this blue glow stick. Like,
yeah.
To me, that would have been
really
scary.
Yeah,
if I was in that position.
Exactly, I agree with you on that. That would be pretty nerve wracking and pretty intense. So we're on Mikey's camera now, and this is where it gets really confusing because everybody has their own camera, and he's constantly jumping between one person to another. And unless you really pay attention to the whole movie and like start memorizing whose voices is who, you have no idea whose camera you're on.
I'm not sure who actually had the glow stick.
I think it was Zach.
Yeah, I think it was Zach too.
But like you have no idea if it's Bobby.
Right.
It's not Mikey. It either had to be Bobby, Jeff, who
we don't see Jeff again.
You never see Jeff again.
We never see Jeff again. So
Zach. So at this point it's Zach. It's hard foul. It runs from one character to the other. You can't tell who's who. You hear sound of the chainsaw heard in the background. One of them turns the corner and there's like this little girl standing there just staring at him. It's not porcelain. It's just some blonde
Just
girl,
some young,
like an 8-year-old
yeah,
blonde
8-year-old.
girl.
Weird. Huh?
Brandy turns a corner, and she all of a sudden like, some guy starts charging straight at her. I guess grabs her, and then again, camera cuts out.
Right.
Cuts back to, it's either Bobby or Zach. I'm guessing this is Bobby at this point because he didn't have the glow stick. So I'm going to say Bobby. They come up on this small room with a steel chair in it and like some lights on a stand, like kind of like you see like construction site or something like that.
Yeah, but yeah, and then you can see through a window.
Yeah,
I'm
it
assuming
turns out
it's like a double-sided mirror.
Yeah,
type
it's
thing.
for them it is, but from
where Bobby's standing.
yeah, it looks
you
like just
can
like
see through
plexiglass
it,
or something.
Yeah.
But it turns out it's like it's a one-sided or two-way mirror, whatever
So
it
you
is.
see a hand come up.
Yeah, bloody hand like smacks up on the glass, and then Mikey stands up. So there's Mikey.
And Mikey and Bobby are brothers
Yeah.
in this movie, right?
Yes, they're brothers.
So again, great opportunity for them to like make this awesome because you see your brother in this room. There's a chair there. There's the lights. He can't hear you, but you can see what's going on.
Yeah,
It's gonna be something.
I totally agree. And like Mikey slipped. Now he starts picking up the chair and he's like throwing it at the walls and like trying to bang on things, trying to get out of there. And Bobby, who keeps like Mikey, get out of there. He's shouting for him. But you know what thing I noticed? Like, if you're really trying to get somebody's attention and you don't think you
Right.
hear him, there's a piece of glass right there.
Yeah.
You never once see like Bobby's hand come out in the frame, like, bang
Bang
on the
it or
glass.
anything.
No,
That's my brother
Yeah.
right there. Oh, Bob! It's like Mikey. Look, there's a guy coming through the door.
yeah,
but
which you never
a
see.
guy
You
coming
never
through the
see
door,
anything.
right.
If the camera says Mikey does turn and
He kinda
look
reacts,
like
yeah,
oh,
but-
okay, yeah, I guess there's something there.
Right,
And he
right.
kind of backs into the corner like, oh shit. Camera cuts out again. You never see anything.
Nothing.
But yeah, the lights go out. You don't see shit. Now it's back to I get like we've come to connect. We're assuming it's Zach with the glow stick. So we're
Right.
back to glow stick, and he finds a light switch. So he finally finds the lights flips on, and he's staying right at a door. But as soon as the lights come on, the chainsaw starts cutting through the door.
Cut through a door, right?
And he's like, "Holy shit!" And some of the guys, whoever's changed on the other side, is like, "I'm gonna fuck your world" or something like that. He
something
says
like
some
that. He
weird.
says something, yeah.
It's hard to understand. Again, back to Bobby, who again, I don't know. At this point, it could be Jeff. Who knows?
Right.
But he's like sees a guy. He sees a mannequin dressed in wearing the blue skull mask and Zach's coat, I guess. But you never
Yeah.
see Zach wear this coat before. But he's like, the guy's like, "Hey, Zach, we gotta get out of here."
Uh-huh.
Again, this guy's gotta be a fucking moron because it's pretty obvious that this is a mannequin.
Right.
It's even like a weird, awkward pose. Like it's
Right.
like,
Right.
like hand on the hips, like you're, not moving, just wearing this puffy coat with the mask on and not breathing. You can tell it's like a fucking
Right.
mannequin. And he's talking to like, "We gotta get out of here, man. We gotta go. And then from out of darkness comes one of the guys in a skull mask and says, "Are you okay?" It is Bobby because he says, "Are you having fun, Bobby?" And then you hear like these weird like sci-fi noises, almost like lasers for a minute. It's really a weird choice. Like, what is that supposed to be?
I must have blocked out at that.
Yeah,
point.
but it's like it's really weird noises. The camera drops and all you see is the flashlight shining into the camera on the floor. And then you hear sounds of either like stabbing
Right.
or beating. Like you don't know if it's somebody's being beaten or
it's
being
almost like,
stabbed.
yeah, Bobby got beat up pretty good.
Yeah.
Because he was a douche the entire time.
Yeah.
I said this hard on for keeping schedule and everything's got to be videotaped. We gotta
Yeah, it's again, you never have no idea.
right.
So cut to now we're back. Now we've come full circle. We're back at the beginning of the movie. It cuts to the two guys lifting a limp Brandy into the trunk of a car. Like I said, there's like a GoPro stuck to the top of the trunk, and they close the trunk. And they drive off. After a few moments, Brandy starts waking up in the trunk. She's looking around. She's freaked out. And then blackout. That's it. Blackout.
Right.
Pops up on Brandy now in a coffin, which also has a camera stuck to the lid of the coffin.
Well, she's in an actual like pine box.
Yeah.
And if you looked at it, there was like entrails or something. She's like laying on, looks like something bloody.
I missed that part then.
I don't know. It was weird that she was in this like pine box, and then they lock her up.
Yeah.
And they start burying her.
Yes.
Burying her alive.
Yep. So, and then of course the camera right there on her face. It's a close up of Brandy's face as she's in the coffin. She's screaming.
Which looks like she's trying to give the camera head the entire
Yeah,
time.
because it's so close. Like, yeah, you're right.
Like lifting up to it. I'm like, what is
You're
going
kind of
on?
right. It does. It's like an angry blowjob.
Right.
It cuts to the men in skull masks, and they're you see them piles of dirt burying Brandy or somebody, and then the camera. I take it back. Then the footage jumps from Brandy's coffin to like Zach's coffin. And you see like Zach also buried in a coffin. It doesn't go to each person's coffin. You don't.
It does.
Did
it
you
does.
see
it
Bobby
goes,
and
It
Zach?
goes to Zach's and Bobby's and Mikey's.
You did. I looked away because I didn't see all.
But it looks like that they are all in like a cushy, pillowy.
Yeah, I know
coffin.
Zach was definitely had like this silky.
All three of them. I mean, it looks like that they're all three in like. It's just terrible editing in this movie. Why is she in like a pine box, which is obviously not comfortable and
Budget maybe it's like we can't afford another coffin.
I guess.
We ruined it. So again, back to Brandy's face screaming. It cuts to the men in the skull mask continuing to bury her.
Mm-hmm.
The camera pans up on one of them who just basically stands there and stares directly into the camera. Blackout. Roll another interview clip. Roll credits.
right.
That's the fucking movie.
Horrible.
This fucking movie.
The definition of horrible.
Oh my
horror.
god. So that said, let's go into favorite kills.
There can be only one. Favorite kill.
Oh, wow.
Now hold on.
There
are no fucking favorite
I know,
kills.
I know, right?
Nobody dies in this movie.
That was one of my main points. I wrote where's the gore?
There's none.
Zero gore.
Nope.
Zero blood. Zero.
And honestly, because of this bullshit ending,
I know.
you could technically make the argument that nobody even dies.
Yeah.
Because if these are supposed to be an extreme haunt,
Yeah.
maybe this is all break. Like, okay, they bury him for a while, and then they
Everybody
come back
gets
like
buried
10 minutes.
alive?
They come back 10 minutes later, dig you up, like, hey,
Right.
you survived. Ah, good for you.
Except
See you
for
next
Jeff.
year.
I mean, you got to assume that Jeff. That's got to be the favorite kill, right?
well, we don't even know if
though
he's
we don't know if he's dead, but you never see him again.
Maybe Jeff was the sleeper cell. Maybe Jeff was a blue
Ooh.
skeleton who just led them there.
Ooh, I didn't think about
But then
that.
but then the footage makes no sense of him getting dragged away in the alleyway. If he
Right.
was in so you have no idea.
Right.
To me, they either all die or nobody dies. So you don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But even if they died, they all died the same goddamn way in a fucking burial.
Again,
buried alive.
when the blue skeletons took over, they had a great opportunity to make this gory, nasty, these awesome kills, and none of that happened.
Nothing. I know exactly. That's why I thought, okay, maybe once this gets to the part,
Right.
this will be a good movie because I could see like, oh, these guys are gonna go through. And
It would be worth sitting through an hour of bullshit to get to like the last 20 minutes of awesomeness.
Exactly.
But no.
Totally agree. So no favorite kills this week because there are none.
Zero.
Moving on to our odds and ends.
Not only did they watch these films, they researched them too. Ugh, what is wrong with these guys?
Again, no odds and ends. All right, here we go. Ratings. We'll start with that. At least I have those to work with.
Right.
All right. IMDb gives it a 5.1 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Rotten Tomatoes, 45% on the thermometer with a 30% audience score. And Amazon gave it 3 out of 5. In my opinion, those rankings are way too high.
Agreed.
Way
3 out
too
of
high.
5? Amazon 3 out of 5?
And 3
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Way too high in my opinion.
Okay.
Again, there's so much missed opportunity. Like, if they would have made up their mind clearly, like, if this was going to be just a documentary, like, the House is October, good name for a documentary based on
Right.
haunted houses.
Right.
Interview the guys, go to the haunted houses, go inside, talk to the work, make a whole movie with that. I don't mind that. I would watch that.
Right.
I find that interesting. Or do the other half of the movie where, okay, these guys are on a road trip and they find the extreme haunt and they do get killed off or something happens to them. But don't mix you either pick
Right.
one or the other.
Right.
Because when you mush them together, you get this shit and
Well, I
it
could
does
even
not
see
work.
where the interview process would end up pissing off some of the workers who are maybe attached with the blue skeleton. Like, all right, these folks want an extreme haunt. Let's give it to him,
Yeah.
And then, but then they gotta end up dying at the end.
Yeah,
There's gotta be
there's
some
gotta
sort
be
of
some more payoff than just what happened.
I mean, you're telling me I sit through an hour's worth of bullshit and I don't even get like a good ending.
Yeah.
Like I want to see some heads on a spike, or I want to see
some
something,
style or
some torture.
Yeah, exactly. Or
Something.
they cut the head off the chainsaw, and then that person's head becomes part of the haunted house set. Like it's the head sitting on a shelf
that would've
for
been
the rest
cool.
of the people to walk through. They
That
don't
would've
realize
been
it's a real head.
Right.
That would be fine.
Yeah.
But no, this. Fuck you. So all right, plot keywords. There were a few. I just wrote down some that were just weird and like, why would you look these up in a movie? So I just wrote down 3 this time because at this point I was like, fuck it. Glow stick, bathroom, and male underwear were some of the plot keywords for this movie.
Male underwear.
Male underwear.
Mikey and his underwear constantly.
He does wear like he was in his underwear, and at one point he was wearing like pink briefs, which something like, is that Brandy's thong or something like that? They were.
That's her granny panties.
Yeah.
That's what he said. Oh my god.
So
Weird.
yeah, it's just so disappointing.
Yeah.
Normally, again, I'd have my trivia or my goose or my background information on this movie. None to be found this week. This movie has just been fucking me over and letting me down in every possible way. Every possible way. All right, let's go to the budget game.
It's now time to play everyone's favorite game. Guess the budget.
Oh wait, there's no budget game either for this week. Sorry, people. Luckily, this is the one time Aaron's not here, so he doesn't have to deal with it because he loves the budget game.
Right.
But yeah, no budget information on this movie that I could find.
Really, nothing.
Nothing. I looked and I could not find it.
Definitely low budget. With
So-
the it was terrible editing too, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because when they're going from haunt to haunt, it really felt like just extra footage from one haunt, because you kept seeing the same characters. So you're telling me you're going from like, all right, the first haunt to the second haunt, but yet the same characters are at each haunt.
Yeah.
It's like they just filmed a bunch at one spot and then kind of cut it in.
They'll try to make it look like multiple spots.
Right.
Yeah, and they could have done it that way. I mean, that might have been what happened.
Had to have been that way, Marshall. I mean, there is no other way around it.
All right, so yeah, no budget game. So let's move on to 5-star reviews.
Is this your guilty pleasure? 5-star reviews.
I do have 5-star reviews. Surprisingly, I do have that.
I did read some reviews.
All right.
Myself.
Now there are, from what I found on Amazon, 180 total reviews of this movie. 23% of those 180, were 5-star reviews. 26% of those ratings were 1-star reviews. So there's people who actually really like this movie, and then like the people like me, who I think are the normal people, the sane people who fucking hated this movie.
I'm right there with you. I couldn't stand this movie.
Okay, so 5-star review. Christine Sears, August 2015. Okay, spelt wrong, by the way. As a girl who is part of Haunt, not a Haunt, as a girl who is part of Haunt, I enjoyed this movie. I love the way it was documented. I just think they should have gave the ending more time. Their time at the end was completely rushed. The final scenes are ... interesting. I'm just wondering, why would you end it like that? Question mark, exclamation mark, exclamation, blah, blah, blah.
It's a great question.
I wish there was a continuance of this movie. Really good, though, if you know about the haunt life. If you don't hunt, hop, or a part of a haunt, you won't like it. It's more of a you need to relate. The acting isn't bad. I enjoyed the characters. Overall good flick. Ending will make you mad. Fair warning. 5 stars.
The actors were good.
Yeah.
Really?
That's the most like.
So she's like
mixed,
she works at a haunt.
She's a haunted house
so
worker.
she's got a hard on for this
Yeah.
movie.
But that's such a mixed review. It's like 5 stars, but really only if you're just small, itty bitty niche of a crowd. Otherwise, you're gonna hate it. It's so weird. Henry Abel, thank you. 5 stars.
Seriously?
Yeah. All right, I got
That's
2.
all I said. That's all I said.
Yeah,
Was thank you.
Thank you. 5 stars. All right, 2 more. Nicholas T. You know the feeling in the pit of your stomach when a simple disagreement suddenly becomes hostile? Ever been in an unfamiliar place when you have the sudden realization that you are very alone and vulnerable? This movie has this in spades. Not shocking or gory in any way, this movie brings what has been sorely lacking in the horror genre for a long time.
Oh, God.
That being the feeling of overwhelming dread.
What?
Yeah, that's what I'm like, what the fuck did you watch? Performances between the villains and protagonists could have easily gone over the top, but they don't. The little girl clown is just, I don't want to say anything else. Give this movie a chance. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Wow.
Nicholas T.
Has this guy watched horror movies at all?
Yeah, like first of all, if you're talking about porcelain, she's not a clown; she's a porcelain doll.
Right.
You're not, so it's not even a clown.
Right.
And just like not shocking or gory in any way.
No.
How do you give a movie? It's a horror movie. It's not shocking or gory, but it's a 5-star movie.
Right.
That's like what horror movies are supposed to be. Shocking.
Be.
I can give you like, okay, maybe not. They don't all have to be gory, but you have to have shock value, have something.
Something.
But oh god, this guy's a. All right, I'm sorry, Nick.
You're an asshole.
You're done to me. And this, I only wrote this one down because of the date it was written, and by keep in mind the reviewer's name.
Okay.
Reviewer's name, Mikey R.
Huh.
And know who played Mikey? Mikey Rowe.
Okay.
Mikey R. Date of review, October 29th, 2014. The movie was released October 2nd, 2014.
Really?
So very close to the release
Convenient.
date. It's convenient. Yes.
Did he at least spell his name different? Or?
Nope. Same way it's spelled.
I see.
There's no Rowe. It's just Mikey, but
Right,
Mikey's spelled the same way.
but you know.
All right. This movie did exactly what it is supposed to. I see some bad reviews, but I think you expected the same old shit that is seen over and over again. How many possession movie, devil, paranormal movies can you watch? I am not a fan of found footage. I am not a fan of found footage fan, but this was done the right way and was never a problem for me. I love haunted houses and have often asked this question about who is working them. This is a keeper for sure. 5 stars. So I'm calling you out, Mikey Rowe. I think Mikey Rowe got on there.
If you do look at the credits, like he was not a producer, he was not a director, he was not involved. I mean, you know, other than like starring in the movie, but I call bullshit on that too.
Yeah, he was not credit for writing directing, but yeah, I definitely call bullshit. I think that's Mikey Rowe trying to pump this movie up.
Totally.
So.
Wow.
I'm on to you, Mikey Rowe.
Yeah.
I'm calling out your shenanigans. All right. That's that. Last remarks. We're going to our recommendations. Chris, question. Is this movie so bad it's good or so bad it's scary?
So bad it's scary.
All right. So you're just like, not recommend this?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
I agree with you. This movie is so bad it's scary. This movie sucks. It's such high hopes. Like it could have been good. Like they could have done something different with it. Like if it was not found footage, like if it was, it could have been better in my opinion. Yeah, just pass on this movie. Bury it with bury this movie out in the desert with the Atari ET cartridges and just forget it. Just move on. All right, so I think that's going to do it for us. Remember, follow us on Facebook, our website, horriblehorrorpodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter at SoBadIt'sScary. We're on Podbean. We're also on iTunes, so subscribe, like, rate us, interact with us.
Please do.
That's going to do it. Chris, thank you again for sitting in,
anytime,
joining me.
My friend, anytime.
It's always a pleasure to have you. Any final remarks before we say goodbye?
I got nothing.
Yeah, this movie drained us. It's drained my soul, so fuck you, House is October Built.
Agreed.
We'll be back later. Peace out.
Later.